Welcome back, Astro listeners, to Star Lady Soul Reader Network. This is Media Monk, and as always, we have our shining star of the zodiac online. It is Star Lady. Hi, Star Lady.
Hello, Media Monk.
Most of us remember Star Lady as Kim Marie, the Managing Director for the Evolutionary Astrology Network. EAN continues to provide the finest EA course for certifying new astrologers, and yet we also have a lot of other stuff on the website. Our current forecasting webinars, go to that forecasting webinars page. We've got the Astro Library, lots of things to supplement your understanding and continued journey with evolutionary astrology. Always call 605-348-5111 to schedule your time with Star Lady, Kim Marie. Get a session, or you can email MediaMonk at evolutionaryastrology.net with any questions about the course or other materials on the website. All right, we're heading into the fall season here. We've got a full moon on tap, so I'll just turn it over to you. And I guess before I do, Star Lady, I just kind of wanted to highlight your EA Online Conference coming up. It's going to be October 6th, 7th, and 8th, a 3-day event. There'll be a registration link and some more information in our newsletter, and also a discount code for 10% off. So we'll make sure we get that out to everybody as well, Star Lady. So with that, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Media Monk. And I will be speaking. My online lecture is going to be Saturday, October 7th. I don't remember the time, but I'll be speaking on parent-child dynamics. Hey, everyone. We have a lot of planetary retrogrades, and we have a supermoon, full moon coming up. Wednesday, August 30th, we will have the full moon of Pisces, Sun 7.5 Virgo, and the moon conjunct Saturn retrograde in early Pisces. And so if you got clear skies, it will be, we're recording this the day before, Tuesday the 29th. And so if you got clear skies, get outside at night and look at that beautiful waxing moon and see if it's dark enough. You don't have any light pollution. If it's dark enough, you can see Saturn with the moon. And so I love full moons when it's summertime in the northern hemisphere and we can be outside in the warmth and enjoy it and look at them. I just love it. So, full moon of Pisces. And, I'm just going to give you the Virgo mantra. I discern with intuitive wholeness. I discern Virgo with intuitive wholeness, Pisces. So this is the full moon where emotionally getting in touch with your communion to source, to nature, to the world at whole, and especially the world outdoors right now. It's just a time period to see yourself as part of the whole, and how do you fit in? And of course, within this full moon backdrop, we have planetary retrogrades galore. I tend to include Chiron these days in my planetary lineup, and so we currently, with Uranus turning stationary retrograde, Monday, August 28th, Mercury turning retrograde the week before, August 23rd. We have 7 planets retrograde. If you are someone who puts Eris, which exists out beyond Pluto's path, Eris, I think, is running about 25, 26 degrees Aries, somewhere in there. That's retrograde too. That can make 8 planetary retrogrades. There's a lot of shake it up, throw it off. What changes do you need to make in your life energy going on? Again, right on this full moon, we have Uranus standing still in the heavens, turning stationary retrograde at 23 degrees Taurus. Some of us, we may be feeling some resource shakeups. We may be reviewing our budgets, our relationships with the material world taking place right now. And if we touch in with that, full moon of Pisces is our inner resources that are most important to us. Do we feel loved? Are we loving? Do we feel connected to the universe? Do we feel connected to others? That calms down anything that can be going on in our resource world. And interestingly, as Uranus turns stationary retrograde here in Taurus, the ruler of Taurus, Venus, is just finishing up its retrograde cycle. Venus turns direct September 3rd. That first week of September is the busy week. The second week of September is just probably, there's really not anything going on. It's all that first week of September here. Venus, September 3rd, going direct at 12 degrees Leo. If you can remember back, it went retrograde July 23rd at 28.5 degrees Leo. And Venus's retrograde is making 3 squares to Jupiter in Taurus. So point is, Uranus retrograde in Taurus, Venus direct, Jupiter turning retrograde in Taurus the day after Venus direct, September 4th. Jupiter's retrograde at 15.5 Taurus. And so here's all this Taurian energy and messaging going on for us. Are we safe in our world? Are we self-reliant? Are we working upon that inner sense of self-worth in our world? How is that reflecting outwardly with the material world and all our resources? Venus finishing up its 6-week retrograde cycle that comes every year and a half. It's all been about what do we value. And it's made 2. It's got 1 more square to Jupiter as Venus turns direct. What is important to us in our world? And there can be a little bit of conflict between us, Leo, and what we can control, Taurus. And so here, one more time, it's that inner world that we want to be opening up to. As all these planets are retrograde and changing directions here, late August, early September, as we have, various oppositions that have been taking place between inner planets traveling Leo, Virgo, to the outer planets at the end of the zodiac. When that outer world's not working, it turns us inward. And that's what planetary retrogrades do in general. In general, any planetary retrograde is throwing off status quo. It's throwing off consensus conditioning. And it turns us inward to find ourselves on an individual nature. Who am I? How do I relate to myself? How do I take care of myself? How do I love myself? And the more we deepen that inner world, the easier it is to navigate all the changes that can be going on in our outer world right now with these planetary retrogrades, with a supermoon, full moon, bringing out some emotional energies. One of the distortions of the full moon of Pisces is I just want to check out. I don't want to be in the reality of my world. Can't I have my fantasy? Can't I have my denials? Or, can I just check out with substances rather than go through the grunge of Virgo's day-to-day routine? How well can we be walking through the physical earth even when it's not to our liking or what we want or what we wish or fantasize? And so here again, as Venus turns direct, this is us settling in. Not settling for, This is us settling in with a new relationship with ourselves. Venus's rulership of Taurus, the inner side of Venus, is about relating to ourself first. And then South Node in Libra will know how to navigate all of those outer relationships in our world a little better. And one more time, let me just say, Venus direct, September 3rd, followed by Jupiter retrograde, September 4th. Are we coming or are we going? Venus is like, okay, I think I'm getting this. I think I'm getting this. And Jupiter turning retrograde square to Venus goes, here we go. One more review, one more thing to ponder, one more area for you to relate to yourself better, or maybe a few more areas to relate to yourself better. Honor that inner world. However, it is presenting itself to you, especially if there's anything in your outer world that isn't to your liking. What we have just a couple of days after Venus and Jupiter change direction is that September 6th, we will have retrograde Mercury make its interior conjunction over the Sun, 13.5 degrees Virgo. So whatever we need to figure out in our world, whatever we need to self-improve upon with Virgo, Mercury's going to be right in there helping us do it and helping us figure it out. I can't remember if... Nope. I'm remembering it now in my head. I was trying to see. Mercury only had one opposition to Saturn. Yep, the beginning of August before the retrograde cycle. As I had said earlier, and I had said in the Mercury retrograde free webinar, Mercury makes 3 waxing trines to Jupiter during this retrograde cycle. So while Venus has the squares to Jupiter and, budget crunch or resource upsets coming through, really having to define what's important to us, Mercury makes 3 waxing trines to Jupiter, Virgo to Taurus, and it's there on that left brain level to go, okay, yes to this, no to that. This is what I want in my life. This is what I do not want in my life. And when Mercury left brain and Jupiter right brain, 3 times with Mercury's retrograde, makes these trines, it really allows the intuition to come forth. It allows the intuitive hits to spark us however they need to. And with that throw it off energy of all these retrogrades, we've got a void, we've got an openness, a space for our intuitive hits to come through and help us go, yes to this, no to that. Yes to this, no to that. How well is it working for you in that arena? How is it working for you in relationships? We're heading into the fall equinox coming up, and so we're heading towards that second half of the zodiac that starts turning us towards relationships. And Mars, is just recently into Libra. It's leading the pack. Mars in Libra, August 27th through, don't have this one written down, October 11th. August 27th to October 11th. Mars leading the pack in Libra. And so these inner planets are going to march towards the South Node this fall in Libra and go over it and bring different relationship reviews for us in various ways, not just intimate relationships, a wide variety of relationships in our world. And so we could look at this early September time period leading up to the fall equinox. A little bit of Virgo energy going on here. How do I better my relationship with myself? To better my relationship with others this fall? How do I improve my relationship with myself so that I can then evolve my relationships with others? In other words, if you live in the United States and this big, broad spectrum, we've got such polarity divides going on in our world. The, Democratic, Republican interests, so to speak. We, on an individual, on a personal level, can learn to see how we are interrelated to others, whether we agree with them or not. And how well can we get along with those we disagree with? Can we agree to disagree? Can we have polite and productive Virgo conversations? Or do we, descend into the, I don't want to have anything to do with you? I'm reminded of Media Monk and I, we have motorcycle rally renters every year, and so we vacate, and we were at a campground in Wyoming, and an elderly man walks by while we're sitting outside of our camper, and he starts going into this Republican tirade of, them liberal blah, 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 blahs, and blah, 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 blahs, and I politely said to him, "Excuse me, I am one of those liberal blah, blah, blahs that you were talking about. We will have to disagree." And you know what? He apologized, and he changed the subject back to talking about hiking, which is what we started on, and, did a mea culpa and turned around and left with his dog that he was walking. He didn't walk by our camper again, but the whole thing was, I was like politely going, I'm not going to take this. I'm just going to let you know. You cannot assume that I agree with you. And can we politely agree to disagree? And that's kind of maybe some of the energy we're in here right now. And so that inner relationship with yourself and being congruent with yourself. And for me, it was like, I know I live in conservative Northern Plains, but that doesn't mean that I have to be quiet. It doesn't mean that I can't have my voice heard and speak up on a polite level. Now, if he wanted to go down the shouting match road, I probably would have went neck and neck, but we kept it polite. And that's kind of what we're looking at this fall in our world with the people in our lives. And it doesn't have to be on the issue of politics. It can be on whatever's going on personally for us in our circles, in our familial circles, with disagreements around family over how to take care of an elderly parent. It can be socializing with friends when we have, different value systems or needs to give and take and compromise once in a while instead of one party always running the show. This is that Virgo energy. And the more time, the more we are inwardly congruent with ourselves, the better we can navigate in that outer world. Did I hear you, Media Monk?
Oh, yeah, I was just agreeing with you. And, responding in the moment is necessary. It doesn't have to be a confrontation or an argument, even though to the degree that you're working on yourself, it will be to the degree you get triggered to that point of just wanting to put your hand up and say stop. But, so much is at stake here in our current political environment, just the way we interact with one another, that it's nice to be able to feel confident enough to respond without, getting overly emotional and just kind of stating where you stand, because we've got to be able to bridge this communication gap somehow, particularly with those that are more polarized and on the fringes of our experience here in the United States of America as it exists today. So yeah, I acknowledge you for that. That was a real nice interaction on the campground level, wasn't it?
It was. It very well. It definitely was, and Leroy, Media Monk, and I, because we live in a conservative area, we live in a gorgeous, beautiful area. I was raised here. I love living here. We have perhaps more opportunity than many people to find ourselves speaking up or interacting with those who disagree with us maybe more than someone who lives in a major metropolitan area and hangs out with their best friends all the time. We find ourselves exposed in social circles. Almost every social circle we probably interact in, we run up against those who disagree with us politically. And so it has created some interesting opportunities for us on communication levels, hasn't it, Media Monk, South Node in Libra?
Yep, it's always good. And you always feel better about standing up for yourself, even though it doesn't have to be a major thing. It doesn't have to be a blowout. It can just be, be very a firm response, and that's kind of where we're at. And then that also is a bridge to another conversation, and perhaps another in another setting with similar people, and that's where the evolution of our thoughts, I think, are lie, and we just got to keep pursuing it. But most importantly, because of that inner process, if you don't respond, I feel negative. I coulda, shoulda, woulda said something. Coulda, shoulda, woulda said something. Why am I afraid to say something? Am I just too lazy to get into an argument? Or so you almost have to have your elevator speech somewhat handy when you get in this in mixed company, I would say.
Mhm. Well, and again, one more time, as all these planetary retrogrades that are taking place, it's stirring the pot. It is shaking things up. And it's there for us to throw off conditioning factors, both on an individual level and on a collective level. However, we find ourselves participating in our particular area of our country or continent or, in our own country. We're all wanting to rebel and throw off the past. And so stay tuned as we move through this fall, because, Jupiter is just going retrograde, and so now we'll have all of those outer planetary retrogrades, which are 4 and 5 month cycles. We're going to go through this the whole month of September, and well, Pluto does go direct in mid-October, but we still have a plethora of those outer planets, and some of them unconscious. When they're retrograde, again, stirring that pot to throw things off. How can you liberate yourself? How can you liberate yourself? How can you go towards that North Node in Eris and go, this is who I am. And I'm not here to fight you necessarily, but I'm also not here to cow down. I'm here to ask for my independence as I give it to you. We still have Pluto square the nodes. It's starting to back off, but we're still going to have Pluto square the nodes for another month or so. And so we have this questioning within our soul. And as Pluto turns direct in October, it is back to within a few minutes of another Pluto return in the United States specifically. And so we're being asked to be responsible as a collective in this country, but we're all on an individual level Pluto direct late Capricorn. How am I individually responsible for myself in every way possible? how am I maturing through this, finishing up of Pluto in Capricorn for the last 15 years? What are these planetary retrogrades asking me to throw off? I throw off my outer conditioning factors for security reasons. Can I deepen Venus direct, my inner self-reliance, and make changes in my world personally, however it's being presented to me?
Oh, thank you.
Mercury retrograde, interior conjunction to the sun on the full moon, supermoon. The aha will be coming through.
Yep, and just beware, because it's a super moon with a hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico. So watch that kettle boiling a little bit. All right, thanks for.
And don't forget to have fun. Media Monk and I are going to be dancing on this full moon outdoors under the stars with a old local band reunion that we just love. I actually have a song written after me by this band, so I have to go dance to it.
Hey, that's tomorrow in the full moon. So enjoy the full moon energy, and thanks for tuning in, everyone. Remember to join us again in a couple of weeks for New Moon Virgo, I guess, right? Yeah, New Moon Virgo.
No. New Moon Virgo. Mm-hmm.
And until then, lots of joy and more passion on this forever interesting journey to the core of our souls. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.